From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Sitting in tonight in Washington, Ted Koppel.
Good evening. The Soviet Union is not exploding, but it does appear to be coming apart at the seams. The threads that held the nation together are tearing and popping and unraveling by the hour. As Mikhail Gorbachev confronted the Supreme Soviet today, he warned that he will not preside over a country that seems determined to tear itself apart. Jim Laurie reports from Moscow.
The faces of those listening today reflected the ethnic and political differences that are threatening to tear the country apart. Everything is collapsing, Gorbachev said. He was as animated as he used to be in his glory days, but now he delivered a desperate plea for a new union treaty, for something to keep the country together.
I am for a renewed union, a reformed union. If that cannot be achieved, then I will resign and let someone else take these responsibilities. Nothing can be achieved if we cannot have a union.
Earlier, Gorbachev had a closed-door meeting with Republic leaders. They discussed the idea of a loose confederation with at least economic ties. He told reporters now is the time for quiet dialogue. Republics must be persuaded not to take hasty actions. But as he met in Moscow, the disintegration continued elsewhere. Cheers and embraces in the Moldavian parliament. And champagne flowing outside. Moldavia became the fifth republic since the coup to declare its independence, the seventh overall. And new rifts may be opening up between Russia and republics like Kazakhstan over borders. Their leaders have always made a great show of friendship, but a spokesman for Russia's Boris Yeltsin warns that republics where many ethnic Russians live should not think about leaving the Union without first discussing changes in the borders.
In many cases, in the majority of the cases, for example, the border between Kazakhstan and Russia is just a line on the map. We should clarify this issue.
Nazarbayev, the Kazakh leader, warns that kind of talk will open the dangerous possibility of inter-republican war like that in Yugoslavia. There was today agreement with Gorbachev that some kind of treaty among the republics was needed, but nobody can agree on just what kind, and until they do, a dangerous vacuum exists which no one can fill. Jim Laurie, ABC News, Moscow.
The list of nations recognizing the independence of the Baltic states continues to grow. The European community today granted recognition to Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, and said the European nations would be sending ambassadors in the next several days. All the same, the Baltics still must clear a number of hurdles on the road to full independence. John Donvan is in Lithuania.
It was by no means a crucial document the Lithuanians signed this evening, only a treaty on cultural exchanges with France, which just established diplomatic relations with Lithuania. Yet to the Lithuanians, it was another symbol of their growing independence from Moscow. But one symbol of Lithuania's half-century of domination by the Soviet Union is still very much here. The thousands of Soviet troops stationed in the Baltics, who right now are showing no signs of leaving. The only troops to have abandoned their barracks in recent days were the riot police known as Oman, who pulled out on Saturday night, but only to a nearby Soviet army base where they await new orders. Today, their commander admitted his men are afraid to leave the base, fearing attack by Lithuanians, who despise the Oman soldiers. Meanwhile, with thousands of regular Soviet troops on their soil, it appears that the Baltics will, for some time to come, be in the position of saying they're independent while still playing host to foreign forces. All that Lithuanian officials can say is that the Soviets have promised in principle to withdraw the Oman troops and to talk about the rest.
It is not only a question between Lithuania and the Soviet Union. It is an integral part of disarmament all over Europe.
Meanwhile, Lithuanian volunteers continue training for their new National Guard, many with hunting rifles, and improving on the barricades around Parliament. Lithuanians, it appears, are still wary of a military move by the Soviets. As one senior guardsman said today, never trust the Bolsheviks. John Donvan, ABC News, Vilnius.
The United States still has not recognized the Baltic states, but that may soon be changing. President Bush told reporters today he might have something more to say on the subject on Friday. The president is also under increasing pressure to come up with some gesture of economic aid for the Soviet Union. Here's ABC's David Ensor.
When Ambassador to Moscow Robert Strauss and other advisors came to meet with the president today in Maine, one of the things they talked about was how much to help the Soviet economy and when. Mr. Bush has made no promises so far. Critics say it is high time he did.
The West needs to act now, and the temptation to sit back on the sidelines and say, let's wait for events to clarify, is a mistake.
2 months ago, Allison and others at Harvard worked with Soviet economist Grigory Yavlinsky on what they called a grand bargain. The West would make huge investments in the Soviet Union if the Soviets would move towards a market economy. Back then, neither side was ready for such a sweeping proposal. Now, the Harvard men say Mr. Bush should at least promise some money in order to strengthen pro-Western reformers.
I don't want to guess how much it is. It's billions and billions of dollars over an extended period, but the point is that it can't be done on the cheap.
But other analysts praise the administration for its restraint.
In our economic system, a president cannot commit the government to huge amounts of money. That money has got to come from the private sector. And if the president overpromises, he will simply mislead the Soviet Union.
It may not be Mr. Bush's style to come up with an expensive vision, a Marshall Plan for the Soviet Union. Aides say he will help substantially when the time comes. But he believes that transforming the economy is mostly up to Moscow and the republics. David Ensor, ABC News, the State Department.
In a moment, the news media in the Soviet Union out from under government control. On the American agenda, letting the private sector take over public services. And a visit with a talented gorilla.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings, brought to you by new Tylenol PM.
Because some aches and pains don't go away when the lights go out, we've created new Tylenol PM, specially formulated with extra-strength Tylenol pain reliever for those aches and pains that can keep you up at night, plus a gentle ingredient to help you sleep, so you can wake up refreshed in the morning. From the name you trust comes new Tylenol PM, so you can rest easy.
Did you know that when Alexander Graham Bell was about to invent the telephone, he stopped work because he ran out of money? Today at AT&T, we understand how important money is to a small business. So we developed AT&T Pro Watts, our discount calling plan that gives you AT&T quality at extremely competitive prices. At AT&T, almost half our business comes from small business. When you succeed, we succeed.
There's a report from TASS today that the men who led the coup are being charged with high treason. If convicted, they could receive the death penalty. In Moscow today, there were moves to take teeth out of the Soviet Communist Party. The country's state bank has frozen all the party's accounts, and that's not all. Now, the newspapers and television stations that had been controlled by the party or the government all these years are also being given some unaccustomed freedom. ABC's Jim Hickey is in Moscow.
In the antiquated composing room of the newspaper Izvestia, they did something radical today. They removed all the communist symbols from the masthead.
So on the old paper, you had Lenin, the Socialist Labor emblem, and the Communist Party slogan.
Yes, and the state seal.
And on the new paper?
We have none.
It's all gone.
Yes.
And they posted notices. The paper's Communist Party chapter has been disbanded. With government approval, Izvestia is going private, financially and editorially.
Now we've gone completely independent.
TASS, the Soviet news agency, has been a state propaganda tool since 1925. Not anymore. Reporters here have also decided to become independent.
Freedom of expression, freedom of the press were the only positive results of perestroika so far, and I think that this is something that we attach great importance to, and this is something we always wanted to have.
Government control over the broadcast media is disintegrating as well. President Gorbachev, with the reported approval of Boris Yeltsin, today appointed the liberal-minded editor of Moscow News as new chairman of state radio and television. Yet for all the progressive changes, Yeltsin has been accused of violating freedom of the press by suspending Pravda and 5 other Communist Party newspapers.
We should allow them to express themselves freely.
Although Pravda printing presses remain silent, the new Minister of Information said tonight it will be allowed to resume publishing under certain conditions.
Они могут ее выражать?
They can follow the party line, they can follow any line, as long as they are not owned by the party.
And that, apparently, will be the new Democratic line. Communist propaganda will be tolerated. Communist control will not. Jim Hickey, ABC News, Moscow.
What was the status of Soviet nuclear forces during last week's coup? ABC's Dennis Trout reports that U.S. intelligence intercepted radio transmissions from the commander of Soviet strategic rocket forces ordering mobile missiles throughout the country off alert and back to their garrisons. U.S. analysts believe that similar orders went out to the commanders of silo-based intercontinental ballistic missiles, but because those communications are more secure, there's no certainty on that point. From the disintegration of the Soviet Union to the breakup of another former communist country, Yugoslavia. In Croatia today, a stern warning from that breakaway republic's president. Prepare for all-out civil war. Dozens have died in the last 3 days as fighting has intensified between units of the Yugoslav National Army, ethnic Serbian guerrillas, who live in Croatia, and the Croatian militia. As Croatian and Yugoslav army leaders met face-to-face today to try to work out a solution, new fighting broke out in villages and towns across Croatia, and mothers throughout Yugoslavia joined in protest against the drafting of their sons into the National Army. It's brother against brother, she says. Why don't you go and fight? Croatia declared its independence from Yugoslavia on June 25th. More than 400 have died in this round of violence, the worst fighting in Europe since the Second World War. When we come back, a legal fight over abortion and medical ethics.
They're coming! Dow Bathroom Cleaner with scrubbing bubbles. It's 50% stronger than original Dow Bathroom Cleaner. We work even harder, so you don't have to.
If you don't get to sleep, I won't get to sleep.
Nitol safely helps you fall asleep fast, so you can get your Z's. Nitol or maximum strength Nitol.
Nitol will help you get your Z's.
I'll get the dressing.
Let's make it fresh. Good seasons.
Dressing's great.
Good seasons, you make it fresh, you make it best.
Every time it rains.
The Discover card pays a cashback bonus on every penny in a charge.
Pennies from heaven.
It pays to Discover.
To get rid of her gray, my wife can spend 40 minutes. But I discovered this 5-minute hair coloring.
The revolutionary discovery called Just for Men from the leader in men's hair coloring. Simply apply Just for Men and in 5 minutes shampoo out.
Gray is blended away. The look of my natural color is back in 5 minutes. That was me, and it won't fade or wash out.
My hair takes forever, but you look great in just 5 minutes.
The look of your natural color in just 5 minutes with Just for Men.
The American Bar Association has passed judgment on Clarence Thomas, President Bush's nominee for the Supreme Court. The lawyers group rated Judge Thomas today as qualified for appointment to the court. It's the second highest of 3 possible ratings. Out of the 15 members of the ABA panel considering the nomination, 2 voted to find Judge Thomas not qualified. None voted to find him well qualified. In Georgia, an unusual lawsuit. A doctor is, in effect, accused of trying to prevent his patient from having an abortion. Each year, several thousand women at risk of having babies with birth defects choose instead to have an abortion. In this case, a couple claims their doctor wanted to make sure that did not happen, so they're suing him for fraud and malpractice. Here's ABC's Al Dale.
Every Monday morning, Tanya Painter and her 18-month-old son, Zachary, have to travel 2 hours each way to a birth defects clinic where Zachary receives therapy. He has Down syndrome, which has affected his mental and physical development. The child's condition is at the core of the lawsuits Mrs. Painter and her husband filed against Atlanta obstetrician Dr. Joseph Randall. The lawsuits charge that Dr. Randall
failed to perform a test that Mrs. Painter specifically requested while she was pregnant. A blood test that probably would have indicated that the baby was going to have problems.
Come on.
Mrs. Painter had told the doctor that she might want an abortion if tests showed the child would be seriously handicapped.
Procurate abortion is the unjust and violent taking of an innocent person's life.
The parents contend that Dr. Randall, shown here in an anti-abortion film, did not conduct the test because he is against abortion, and that they were assured throughout the pregnancy that all tests had been conducted and a healthy baby was on the way.
I feel that he knew if something was wrong with this child that I would have had an abortion. And he took it into his own hands to do what he thought was right.
What he took away from her was her right to decide what she wanted to do. Her own right and her husband's right to decide what they wanted to do with their family.
Dr. Randall, who declined requests for an interview, issued a statement saying that Mrs. Painter never asked for the test and that proper care was given. Zachary has been operated on 4 times. Mrs. Painter says first-year medical bills totaled $87,000, forcing the family into bankruptcy. She says her family's hopes for the future have been destroyed.
Your whole world's turned inside out. I mean, it's actually like having a death in the family. It's like having one of your children die.
A hearing will be held in September to determine if the lawsuits go before a jury. Al Dale, ABC News, Atlanta.
On Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 13 points to close at 3026. Trading was light. Back in a moment.
Doctors know there's a flaw in eggs. They're high in cholesterol, and diets high in cholesterol and fat can contribute to heart disease. Fleischmann's Egg Beaters are 99% real egg with 0 cholesterol and 0 fat. Egg Beaters, eggs without the flaw.
A lot of you insist on eating wheat thins and oat thins because they taste good. But the whole idea behind these crackers is that you can eat them without feeling guilty. That's why they're baked, not fried. I mean, eat them because they're delicious, and you miss the whole point.
Ask Angela Lansbury about aspirin-free Bufferin AF Nighttime.
Angela, there's something new here. Bufferin AF Nighttime?
Yes, it's from the makers of Bufferin, for when you feel achy at night and you're having trouble getting to sleep.
It's for both problems?
Uh-huh. Bufferin AF Nighttime should really help. You see, it's a maximum strength aspirin-free pain reliever plus a gentle non-prescription ingredient to help you get to sleep.
New Bufferin AF Nighttime helps put pain and you to sleep.
Your pets go many places during the course of a day, and you can't always protect them when they go into flea and tick-infested areas. We can. Used as directed, Heart's Blockade for dogs and cats repels and kills fleas and ticks, including ticks that carry Lyme disease. By creating a barrier, Heart's Blockade prevents these pests from living on your pets. Helping to improve your pet's quality of life is your responsibility. Helping you do that is Heart's.
3 years ago, we set out to create a sports sedan. But first and foremost, we set out to create a Lexus. Introducing the Lexus ES300 Sports Sedan.
On the American agenda tonight, how a growing number of cities and towns are trying to save tax dollars. It's called privatization, which means that the services we've come to expect government to provide are turned over to private businesses. It's caught on during the recession as more local governments have to make do with less money. Hundreds of places across the country have now privatized at least some of their services. As our agenda correspondent Ken Kashiwahara found out, the savings can be enormous.
In Scottsdale, Arizona, firefighters work for a private company, not for the city. By contracting out its firefighting responsibility, the city saves $3 million a year. In nearby Phoenix, public defenders are private attorneys who take cases under contract to the city. Savings, $300,000 a year. In Florida, the Dade County School District is getting ready to open its first privately operated public school. For the same amount of tax money, the private company promises a student-teacher ratio that is twice as good as the ratio in the district's publicly operated schools. From private prisons to mass transportation, financially strapped local governments are privatizing traditionally public services.
The idea has moved beyond the academic journals and beyond conservative right-wingers to become seriously a mainstream tool.
Proponents of privatization say it is not just public versus private, but government monopoly versus competition. Case in point, Newark, New Jersey, which contracts out 1/3 of its garbage collection. The private company performs the same tasks as city garbage collectors for $300,000 a year less. Competition, city officials say, has forced city workers to become more productive.
Clearly, I think that the handwriting's on the wall. I think it's easy to recognize that we have the capability of expanding the private sector function, and I think the employees understand that.
When governments across the country look for a model of privatization, many look here to Los Angeles County. Since 1979, LA County officials estimate they have saved taxpayers $250 million by privatizing public services. Private companies screen and provide job training for the county's welfare recipients, run food service operations at county hospitals, provide dentists for medical clinics. The company that repairs county vehicles is owned by Fred Balderrama.
In private industry, there's a lot of incentives to save money and to do the best job. I mean, that's money in your bank account.
LA County has strict guidelines. Any privatized service must have multiple bidders so the county can get the lowest cost for the service. And any company taking over a government function must offer jobs to displaced county employees.
Out of perhaps 5,000 jobs that we have replaced by contracting in the last 12 years, less than 24 of our workers have been laid off as a result of that.
Opposition to privatization has come from public employee unions trying to protect their workers' jobs. They claim many private companies pay low wages and cut costs by cutting corners.
Maybe they do save money, but the question is, what happens to the service? Is the service delivered in a better way, a more efficient, economic way? They may save it through wages, but they don't deliver the service.
There have been failures. In 1983, inmates in Oklahoma burned down a jail to protest the quality of food provided by a private company. And the city of Chicago will begin collecting ambulance fees again because the private company was performing far below expectations. But supporters of privatization say these are exceptions, and the concept is being increasingly supported by Republicans and Democrats alike. In Massachusetts, Republican Governor William Weld is using privatization as the centerpiece of his effort to downsize government.
Anywhere we think we can get more bang for the buck, better services for the taxpayer's dollar, or save money, same services for fewer dollars, we'll do it.
Democrats who control the Massachusetts legislature say 5 years ago they would have opposed privatization on ideological grounds.
Now, any idea that has the promise, at least, of delivering services more efficiently at less cost is something that people are very open-minded to and will examine very carefully.
Democratic mayors like Dinkins of New York and Daley of Chicago have become supporters of privatization too. And with some cities even talking about selling their airports, it appears to be an idea that is becoming a growing part of the new fiscal reality of the 90s. Ken Kashwahara, ABC News, Los Angeles.
And we'll have our final report in a moment.
When you get gas pain, which would you choose? Your antacid or Gas-X, the tablet made for gas pain? It's extra strength, 100% simethicone to get rid of gas faster than your antacid. Fight gas right with Gas-X.
April in Paris.
He spoke English like I spoke French, but somehow we talked for hours over coffee. Coffee so rich, I thought I'd never taste its like again.
Discover the deep, rich flavor of Maxwell House Rich French Roast.
Encore un café?
What?
More coffee?
Oui.
Maxwell House Rich French Roast, blended with Colombian beans because better beans make better coffee.
The same medicine found in the prescription drug Motrin. Same as in Motrin, in non-prescription strength.
If you want the same medicine found in prescription Motrin, wouldn't it just be simpler to ask for Motrin IB, non-prescription strength Motrin IB? Accept no alternatives.
Not long ago, these women would have shied away from these hugs. You would too if you were wearing a diaper.
But today, Johnson & Johnson brings you the breakthrough. Serenity Guards. Bladder control protection so advanced you'll never need anything bulky again. Serenity holds as much as something 5 times its size, locking liquid into a gel that won't leak. That's proven protection. So give yourself a hug for discovering Serenity from Johnson & Johnson.
The collection plate is being passed for an unusual reason in one mid-state county, sex education. I'm Ann Holt. We'll have this story and more next at 6.
And finally tonight, when there are huge events in the world, such as the Soviet coup, lesser stories sometimes go unnoticed. ABC's Judy Muller wanted to make sure you didn't miss one small milestone in California.
Happy birthday to you. For her 20th birthday, Coco celebrated the usual way.
You gotta blow. Good!
She had some, well, all the birthday cake. She donned a party hat.
Hat! Yes! Hooray!
And she opened her presents. Her favorite gift? A brand new computer designed just for her. Coco, the first gorilla to communicate with sign language, now has a voice as well. By touching symbols on the screen, Coco can activate the computer's voice.
Okay, the gorilla is down here. Gorilla. I. Good. She signed I after you typed I.
Apple designed the computer to withstand the blows of a 260-pound gorilla, should Coco not always be in a user-friendly mood.
Stink there. Stink. Very good. You told me what you were going to press, and you did it.
Coco has a working vocabulary of over 500 signs, and she understands some 2,000 spoken words.
She can now understand English, but now with the computer, she can produce English. And that may give us insight into how her mind processes language.
And how does Coco feel about herself?
Her famous quote is that Coco is a fine animal gorilla. So she's proud. She's proud of herself.
We could see that for ourselves during a recent visit to Coco when she became involved in a cosmetics exchange.
Makeup? Makeup, son?
There you go.
She likes lipstick. Lipstick? Lipstick?
Nice. That seemed to break the language barrier. Hi, Coco. Glad to meet you. Oh.
Is this a kiss?
Coco was eager to show off her room. Oh, thank you. I'm beginning to walk like you now because it's easier. And she wrapped up the visit with a snapshot.
Smile. Find it.
Do I say cheese?
There you go.
Cheese. The Gorilla Foundation has been hoping that Coco would mate with Michael, the gorilla next door. Although Michael now can sign almost as well as Coco, conversation may not equal chemistry. When asked what she thinks of Michael, Coco sometimes makes the sign for toilet.
What do you think of Michael?
Judy Muller, ABC News, San Francisco.
And a quick reminder about tonight's Nightline. The most feared Soviet institution is also under assault. It's an organization with over 700,000 staffers, more than 1 million informers. Our focus on Nightline, what's happening to the KGB. That's our report on World News Tonight. I'm Ted Koppel. Hope to see you later on Nightline. Have a good evening.
And now, the news continues with Channel 2 News.